Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for taking some time out on this beautiful summer day to be with us. The instructional technology team really is in awe of how much time you guys are taking to learn things this summer, and we appreciate you taking that time to do so. Today is Techno Tuesday. We are going to be talking about Flipgrid. So, what is Flipgrid, you might ask yourself? Flipgrid is a platform that allows students and teachers to record their thinking and learning via a video format. And Flipgrid is all about student voice, so making sure that students can share the information that they're learning in a way that's maybe a little bit easier for them to get their thoughts across versus writing an essay or something like that. Flipgrid is also very user-friendly. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, and I'll show you the platform. But before we dig into the platform, there's a couple vocabulary words that it's important that you're going to know. As I'm talking, I might be mentioning things like grid or topic. So a grid is like a class that houses all of the topics that your students or staff, depending on how you have it set up, will allow them to see. So if you think of a grid, I might have one question that says, what is your favorite book? I might have another question that says, what did you learn in science today? And I might have another question that says, what do you think about this cool tool? So a grid is all of the different topics that you are then going to be posting. And then therefore a topic is an individual question or discussion that is posted on a grid. So that's just something to keep in mind when we're talking about a grid. It's big picture, lots of different topics. One topic is specifically what your assignment you're asking students to do. So great thing about Flipgrid is it is free. So you as a teacher can choose the login with Google option and create your own account. And I do have the website linked here that will take you to Flipgrid. And then again, you would either sign in if you already have an account or create an account using Google Login. When we start talking about adding our students, and again, I'll walk us through the platform itself, but I wanted to go over this quickly. There's a couple things to keep in mind. So it's going to ask you, how would you like to add your students to the grid, right? To the big overall class. And you can do that in two ways. You can choose to use the school email address. This is great for students who have a Chromebook already because they're also going to use the login with Google option. So again, students 2 through 12 who have a Chromebook, they have to log into their Chromebook as it is, and it's paired with their Google account. I would definitely recommend using that option. You also have the option to add students by student ID. What this does is you as a teacher is manually going to go in and create these student IDs, and then you will obviously tell your students, okay, what's their username, what's their password, and then they can log into Flipgrid that way. Again, this would be great for kids K2, so that, because they don't know their email address, chances are typing in their email address and their school-issued password is going to be significantly more work than typing in a short ID that you create for them and a generic password. So some perks of Flipgrid. There is an app available for iPads. I'm going to be showing you the web version today, but the iPad app is very similar. It is, again, very user-friendly, very straightforward, working with students. And I haven't specifically done it with second graders, but third and fourth graders. Been in the classroom, I show it to them for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and they take it and go. So it's very intuitive, and students can pick up on it very quickly. Again, that student voice, it allows students to share their knowledge in a way other than writing, right? So they can share their thoughts verbally, and then you as a teacher don't have to sit down and have a one-on-one conference with them, and that those precious minutes during the school day, you can have them share their thoughts on a specific topic and then watch it at a later time, whether they're at recess or you're on your prep or maybe at, after school. Another great option is that Flipgrid pairs nicely with Google Classroom and also Remind. So if you are maybe a 4K through 2 teacher and you use Remind frequently, it does pair with that as well. So a couple things to consider when you're thinking about using Flipgrid. Okay, so let's get out of this presentation and let's play for a little bit. Again, when you click on the link to take you to Flipgrid, here is their main page. Again, you'll notice that you can sign up as an educator, and it does say that it is free. There is also, it walks you through a couple different options on this main page, but I'm going to log in. So I'm clicking Educator Login in the top right corner. Sometimes it will ask you to select your Google account, and that's okay. It didn't ask me this time, but in the future, it might ask you the first time or if you haven't logged in a while, and that's okay. And then here is kind of your home page. So again, you'll notice that I have 11 grids. Again, those are 11 separate classes. They're not necessarily topics. So I can look through all of my grids that I have. It gives me a summary, it gives me the title, the code that people would use to join if I have them join that way, and then also how many topics I have and videos. So remember, those topics are questions that you're posing. So for example, this one, I have 3 topics and 2 videos have been recorded. This one I have 6 topics and then 35. You'll also notice that there is a little icon telling you which way people are being added, whether it's versus student ID. A private community is great if you're doing PD with staff. You can set it up as a PLC, but chances are you're using students, so you do student ID or student login. Once I am on this site, I can go into one of my grids. I can go into a specific one. So for example, I have this Techno Tuesday one set up, so that's the one we're doing today. When I'm in this grid, the top again is that summary. So I have the ability to edit my grid. This would edit any of those features that I have, right? My grid name, the flip code is pre-created for you. And then here's where you can adjust the grid type, whether it's school email, student ID, or educator learning community. Another great thing when you're creating a grid is you have the ability to put a password on it. So in addition to sending someone a link, they would also have to type in a password as a second kind of means of protecting it so you don't get people on there that you don't want. You'll also see that there are features. So I can make this grid active, or if maybe it's a grid from 2 years ago, I can hide it so it's no longer visible. You can receive notifications when videos are submitted, and then here's some additional features that you can adjust based on the participants that you have. This one is download and share, so if you would like students to be able to download the video of themselves after they record it, you would want that to be toggled on. There's also the ability for students to receive email notifications. So if you are working at a middle school or high school level and your students use email regularly anyways, it might be advantageous to turn this on because every time you post a new question to the grid, a new topic, they'll get notified that there's something they need to complete. And then you can also personalize it. So the header is something that I just picked from Flipgrid, but you could pick and choose and upload your own custom header using any image file that you have saved to your desktop. And then there's some pre-created ones.
Julia, there was a question that came through about, is there a limit to the number of grids that you have in the free version?
Nope, Flipgrid is completely free. There is no freemium, so you can have as many grids as you would like. So I kind of walked you through some of the settings of a grid. To add a new grid, you would just click on this Add a New Grid button once you are logged in. And again, it gives you all of the same things that I went through under the settings of editing this one. Okay, so I showed you what the little pencil does. Again, that's when you're going to be editing something. We also have these 2 additional options. So we have the share. When I click on this, this would be sharing my entire grid. So the first time I want students to come on, I can copy this and send it to them. I could also share it via QR code. So if students have iPads or a Chromebook and they want to use the scan feature on the second grade Chromebooks, they could scan the QR code. Again, here's that Google Classroom option, and then our share via Remind. So again, this is sharing the entire grid. If I want to, I can also share individual topics, and you'll notice there's the share button here as well. So maybe all my students are already on this grid in this class, but I don't have email notifications set up because I teach third grade and they don't check their email. But I want them to know that I have a new topic that I would like them to post to. I can share this topic itself by doing the exact same method. Whether it's QR code, copying a link and posting it in Seesaw or in Google Classroom. And then again, there's that Google Classroom option where you wouldn't even have to create a new assignment. You could just share that way. Okay, so now that I'm in my grid, so this is our grid that we're doing. Flipgrid automatically always gives you one topic that is pre-created, and you don't have to use it. So the first one for every grid that you create is going to be the Say Hello. And this is, again, very generic. So maybe I don't want my students to be able to see this one. I'm going to make it my own. So I'm going to make this hidden. I'm going to go to this Active tab, and I'm going to hide it. You will notice there's also a frozen option. This would be if you had a topic that you wanted students to record to, but maybe the deadline has passed. No one can submit new videos, but people can still watch the old ones. So again, I'm going to hide this one. So again, this one, if you were to go to my grid now, you would not be able to see it. But I'm going to create a new topic for my students, and it's going to be very similar, right? It's going to be a get to know you activity. So tell me about yourself, right? And this is creating, again, a new topic. So one kind of assignment within Flipgrid. So we have the title. You do have to then enter a prompt. So this is where I would guide my students for what do I want them to talk about. So tell me about your family and what you did over the summer. You will notice that you do have character limits. In the title, you have a character limit of 35, so that has to be relatively short, but the prompt, you do have 1,000 characters. Once you have your title and your prompt decided, then here's some of the settings that you can adjust, and again, these are adjusted per topic. So if you want to have a variety of topics for your students to respond to, but some of them you want to be visible to other students and others you don't, here's where you're going to adjust those. You have the ability to set a recording time limit. The maximum amount of time they can record on Flipgrid is 10 minutes. But if you've listened to students ramble, 10 minutes is a very long time. So chances are you're going to want to either use the default, which is 90 seconds, or you can adjust that. So maybe I only want to give students 1 minute for this tell me about your family. This next one is very important. It's called video moderation. So this is what I definitely recommend you toggle this on if you are working with students. So what this will do is you will have to approve the video before other students can view it. And one of the great things about Flipgrid is students are not only recording videos, but then they can watch their classmates if you approve it, right? So this is where that video moderation I highly recommend you turn on. That way, any inappropriate videos that have been recorded will not be visible to the rest of your class. This is a focus, and again, it says it's optional, but this is a way you can engage your students. What it is it's just going to be either a picture or an image that's going to pop up next to your main question. So maybe I'm going to add a GIF. So I'm going to look for summer. And maybe I'm going to choose this one. And again, this will pop up, and I'll show you in just a second, but it's going to pop next to your title. Another thing to make a note of, and sometimes this is easily missed, so again, this is also very important, is there's this More Options button right next to Create the Topic. So I can click on that, and then it will give me some additional settings that I can turn on for my students. So I can add a topic tip, so maybe a helpful hint for my students to know. I can include attachments, so maybe I'm doing a reading response. So we're learning about, maybe we're reading The Wild Robot, and I want students to be able to respond to a number of questions, and I don't want to type it all in my description. I could add maybe a Google Doc here that they would then have access to. Here again is where you have the ability to change your status immediately. So if I'm thinking ahead and I don't want my students to be able to see this right now, I can choose to hide it before I create it. You also have the ability to schedule. So you can schedule this to freeze at a certain time and also start at a certain date. So today is 7/21. But I could choose for this to become active next week. And then again, I can choose to have it freeze maybe at the end of August. So again, that's where I can set that up. And I'm going to actually have it start today. These video features, again, is also an important place when you're setting up a grid. This will give your students different options. So as a student, if I'm recording a video, do you want them to be able to type in a video title? Do you want them to be able to see how many people have watched their video? Sticky notes is available to students so they can take notes while they're recording their video. You can allow students to edit the video after they have it recorded. Students can attach links. Students can like videos, or you can turn that off. Obviously, this one is turned off. And then the last one is student-to-student replies. So once a student posts a video, are you allowing another student to reply with a video to that post? And again, that would depend on the purpose of your grid and then also the age level of your students. So I'm going to toggle that off. And then this last one is just feedback. So this would be you as a teacher, what type of feedback do you want to give students on the video? You can provide basic feedback, which would just be comments, or you can create rubrics. And we're not going to talk about that today, but those are options for you as well. The last thing I'm going to show you is you can save your changes to make it your default setting. So if every single grid, you know you're going to want likes turned off and you're going to want this view count turned off, you can make this your default setting so that you don't have to worry about adjusting that moving forward. Once I'm ready, I'm going to create the topic. Here again is that topic code, so I could share it via Google Classroom or copy it to my students. And then here's what it looks like when I go inside the topic. Okay, so I have my summer, that GIF that I have. Here's the question, and then here's the details with that. Now, as a student, there's going to be two different things they'll see. You'll see this record a response with this plus. Students would see this big plus there. So again, here's me as a student. I'm on the Techno Tuesday PD, and let me actually refresh that. So again, here I'm going there. There's my summer one. I can click on that and I can add a response. So if I'm going in to add a response, again, this is what it would look like from your view and also student view. But I'm going to click on this big plus. It's going to ask me to log in. So I'm going to quickly log in with Google because that's the setup I have for this one. Your students will have to allow their microphone and camera the first time. That's the biggest issue I ever have with troubleshooting is students block it, and you're going to have to reallow it in their Chromebook settings. but I'm going to allow it. You'll then notice it's using my camera. I have all of the settings that are available. So when I mention that it's very user-friendly, this is what I mean. So for the students, all they have to do is hit this record button. There are some additional settings that students can play around with, and believe me, they will find it quickly, like the filters. So there are a lot of things that students can do with that. Here is where they can add text to their video as well. And then the other really cool thing that I want to point out is they have this ability to do a whiteboard. So maybe you want them to record themselves explaining a math problem. So instead of seeing their face, they can record using this whiteboard. And I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to press the record button. It counts it down for you. Then I'm going to change my color. Hi, I'm Julia Leeson. Here's my math problem. So I have 2 plus 2 equals 4. Now again, this isn't super great because they are using their trackpad. If you're on a iPad, they could use their finger. But then maybe I'm going to explain my thinking. I have the clear button. I can undo, redo. It shows me in the top right corner how long I've been recording. And then as a student, I can pause, maybe collect my thoughts, and then continue to record if I would like. I have the ability to redo my video as well. And then once I feel like it's good to go, I have everything done that I would like, I have the ability to hit next. One last thing I do want to show you is students always have these available in the top right corner as well. There's that sticky notes that's automatically turned on, but you can toggle that off. And then here is like, okay, what was I supposed to say again? So as a student, I can click on that and say, oh, that's right, I'm not supposed to be doing a math problem. I'm supposed to be telling you about my summer. And then maybe I choose to redo it. So I'm going to redo this. It will ask me, yep, I'm going to confirm that. I'm going to try this again. So I'm going to clear. I'm going to clear my page. I'm going to show my face again. So I'm going to get rid of this board. Hi, I'm Julia Leeson. I have a dog, a golden retriever named Ginny, and 2 kids. And then I would continue on, but once I'm done, I can hit next. Hi, I'm Julia Leeson. It allows you to review your clip. Because I have editing turned on, you will notice that I have some editing options available right here. And I can also add more. So maybe I decided that I needed to talk more. I can go back and add on to the rest of my video. Again, all very user-friendly. Here's that download option. Again, I have that setting turned on. So students, if they really liked their video, they could download their own. But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go to next. And then this is the fun thing. So instead of showing just a random clip of the video that you've recorded, it allows students to take a selfie. So I might take a selfie. Maybe I want to be pixelated. I can add different stickers or emojis. There's a lot of fun things students can play around with to personalize it. And then I'm going to hit next again. Very user-friendly. Here is where my name is going to be displayed. I can do the title, which is optional, and then I just hit submit my video. Again, here's the ability where I can download the video or download a selfie. Now, because I am the educator, again, as a student, I don't see any responses there because I have not approved it. So I can go back in. I'm just going to refresh this real quick. Now, as a teacher, since there has been one video response, I can see that video response. You'll notice it is hidden, so I have the option to change that, so I can make it active. And then as a student, there is Julia Leeson's video response, and they would continue to populate on this topic. And there'd be a whole bunch of them that then I could go in and watch. Okay, so I talked a lot longer than I wanted to, but I am going to pause and see if there are any questions before I wrap it up with a couple additional things. Okay, well, if there are no other questions, again, we are on a one topic, so this is one question that I have posed. I have the ability to edit that topic using the pencil. I can share this topic, this one question, and I have the ability to do some actions, whether I would like to edit it, record a response myself. You can also add co-teachers, so topic guests. So if you would like to add one particular person for this topic, you can do that. And you do have some of these settings available as well under your grid. So again, you'll notice here's my grid, here's my one topic, tell me about yourself. The say hello on Flipgrid is hidden. And then I have the ability to add co-pilots. So if you're co-teaching, that means you would both have those teacher status. You could both approve and moderate videos. I can completely duplicate a grid if needed, and then I could also delete it. So again, here is one topic. If I wanted to, I could add another topic. Just like the grids, which are the classes, there is no limit to how many topics you can have. So that's really great. You can also adjust and move them around. If you are someone who's going to use this frequently, you can move them up and down so that your students see the most recent one at the top, or maybe the most important one as well. Okay, so that is an introduction to Flipgrid. Again, it's really great, super user-friendly. Flipgrid also has, for educators, a bunch of resources along the top. You know, you can partner with other schools. So there was a 5th grade class that I worked with where they did Where Are We in the World? So their students partnered up and they recorded a question like, we are known for our cheese. And then the other class watched all 12 videos and they had to guess where they are in the world. So there's a lot of really great things that you can do with Flipgrid, in addition to just having them to respond to a question that you're posing, whether it's, you know, get to know you or educational. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about Flipgrid. I'm going to pause again. Are there any additional questions?
There weren't any other questions that came along the chat, but if anybody does have a question, feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask.
Do we create this Flipgrid account through our school email?
Yes. Yep, you can just use the login with Google option when you go to create an account.
Okay. I think this would work well for speech class, wouldn't you think?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I think there's a lot of great things that you could use, especially if we're in a 100% virtual learning environment or some kind of blended learning environment. Some additional ideas that I've seen have been, you know, fluency checks, right? So have a student read a passage and record themselves. You know, interviewing. You could have 2 students sitting next to each other and having a conversation, and then you get to record that conversation. So there's a lot of great applications for this.
Thank you. I do like the question that Kimberly has too.
Okay. Kimberly asked if there are tutorials for students, or are we going to have to create one for our class?
That is a great question. I'm not sure what's available on Flipgrid's website. However, our instructional technology team, we'd be happy to create tutorial videos for you if this is something that you plan on using, you know, kind of showcasing the different tools for students and how to go through and do it. But yeah, like so we can definitely work on that. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.